I might listen to Pinky Up religiously because genetically I am wired to like silly and stupid songs, but that does not mean I am just going to ignore how the way this group is marketed is problematic to the core. If that makes me a hypocrite, so be it. But in this video, I want to discuss several issues I have with Katseye. 1. Queer for the male gaze. Personally, I never fell for the Katseye's queer representation narrative because I am not stupid enough to see how Geffen is using the girl's sexuality to market the group to a predominantly Gen Z audience. Especially for a Gen Z audience that is usually situated within the K-pop sphere, girls openly admitting that they are bisexual or whatnot seems like the best thing that could have ever happened to them. Given that the same people are usually dependent on the bare minimum crumbs K-pop artists give them by occasionally waving a queer flag every 5 years. So, whether the girls are queer or not is not the question, but the fact that they can openly talk about it does not represent Geffen's progressive standpoint but rather a strategy to draw in new fans. Regardless, if it had stated them openly being gay, I would have just kept my mouth shut, but I seriously cannot stand how their queerness in quotation marks has been presented more recently. We all know what I am talking about. Lara is groping her co-members on stage in skimpy clothes. It was only a matter of time before Geffen fetishized Lara's sexuality for a male audience. Historically, lesbianism has never been taken seriously, and in many cases where homosexual relationships between men have been punished with death sentences, homosexual relationships between women have been overlooked. As much as this may seem like a good thing, it actually comes from a place of believing women to be inferior and denying their capability of having any serious sexual relationships. When two girls with boyfriends can openly inappropriately touch each other and then go back home to their boyfriends, it A. gives off the vibe that lesbianism isn't real anyway, so it cannot be cheating, and B. lesbianism is a tool to accommodate male lust. Yes, I am aware that Lara made clear that these things are her ideas, but to deny that Geffen clearly benefits from this is silly. Anytime a music group or a solo artist is backed by a larger company or a conglomerate, you cannot simply restrict your analysis to the artists themselves, but always have to consider the commercial benefits of the company in mind. Many men lust over sexual relationships between women, and many men therefore bring in money that Geffen would never say no to. Whatever it may be, this entire thing feels extremely icky to me, and I cannot keep thinking about how it reminds me of straight women who kiss each other just to entertain their male friends. Commercial bands will never be real queer representation, and Katseye proved that point to me. 2. Indian for the Western gaze. I never questioned Lara's ties to her culture. She openly talks about it. Based on the videos of her sister, they really seem to be connected to India and her Tamil culture. A bourgeois version of it, for sure, but earnestly regardless. Lara, wearing her little bindi during Dream Academy, felt cute. But sometimes I do have to say that it feels like she wants to sell a fantasy more than authenticity. This shows in how she combines her ticket jewelry with clothes that do not really go with it. When she puts on a head-covering scarf over her lehenga, or when she combines her traditional jewelry with lingerie. Whatever it is not authentically Indian, and she does not have to be. She is an American Indian after all, and she is going to bring in aspects from both of these environments because that is who she is. I cannot deny, though, that I get heavy self-exoticization vibes from her. Selling the fantasy of Aladdin's Oriental Jasmine, there is a difference between I am Indian, but in a way that I can instrumentalize it for you to find me exotic and sexy, and I am Indian because that is just who I am. 3. Young for the predatory gaze. I am falling for every single piece of propaganda out there, but one thing I am not falling for is the idea that putting girls who have not even developed their frontal lobes yet into sexy outfits is empowering and liberating. Whatever your sexuality means to the liberal crowd, it definitely is not sexualizing young girls to a global audience. Predatory audiences are cheering, and you are legitimizing Geffen and Hybe's effort to commodify these girls' bodies. Men are sitting in these creative rooms creating mood boards to maximize the sexualization of these women and to draw in as many creeps as possible, and somehow I am supposed to believe that this is empowering and liberating, as if this is not exactly what men have been doing for centuries, as if this is not the epitome of patriarchy. The creepiest part of this all is how everyone has been counting down on Yoonchae's 18th birthday, and the moment she turned 18, they put her in a cowboy outfit doing rodeo in a bedroom. Oh, but the girls want to dress like that, as if societal grooming is not a thing. Especially given how these girls entered the entertainment industry at a very young age, the same entertainment industry that teaches young girls they have to cater to the male gaze to be successful. In a neoliberal world order, the same old patriarchy is repackaged to you as empowering and fierce just to continue to profit off of women's bodies. 4. Diverse for the capitalist gaze. Moreover, the entire idea of Katseye being so diverse has always been a fraud to me. Diversity is instrumentalized in our current world to generate profit. Queer relationships are decriminalized to exploit them. Companies plaster people of color on their advertisements not because they care about equality, but because A, they want to draw in more consumers, and B, they want to conceal actual injustices, such as wage differences happening behind closed doors. Similarly, hybe's geffen has used girls from different nationalities not because they actually hold any egalitarian beliefs, but because if they have one girl representing one country, they can draw in a global audience. This diversity fraud has been most clear during Dream Academy when Adela said that they would only allow one Indian girl to be in the group. Back then, everyone nodded and agreed as if that was a reasonable thing, but if diversity actually mattered, why would they not let girls based on their talents into the group regardless of how many girls of what cultural background would have ended up in Katseye? The point is that to limit one girl of one ethnicity to be part of the group completely contradicts the idea that girls of all ethnicities are talented and deserving enough to be in the group. Just like previously, girl groups have been made up of 5 white girls and 1 black girl. A girl group with 2 Indians or 2 Koreans should pose no issue to the company. But that has never been the intention. It is not about trying to include girls from many countries, but only to include at the most 1 girl from each country at max, just so you can have a more global and wider fan base. Real diversity means acknowledging each culture as equally capable and therefore basing judgments on talents. Phrased differently, if the industry genuinely believed that all girls were equal and therefore actually held pro-diversity attitudes, the final lineup would have been chosen by skill, regardless of whether that would have resulted in multiple members from a nation. But Katseye is not actual inclusion, it is tokenism, in which the girls were never allowed to exist as themselves but only as symbols for their entire demographics. And through the final lineup, they ensured maximum geographic coverage without wasting a spot on a market they had already covered. So with Lara, they had the Indian market covered, and therefore Adela became superfluous. 5. Vocalists for the K-pop gaze. And I have to say, the girls really cannot sing. In fact, on par with many other K-pop groups nowadays, the group lacks proper vocalists. If these girls were marketed to me as a performing-based group, I would have been like, fine, it's whatever. But since we are told to believe that these girls can sing, and they love to sing, and they would love to sing more vocal-heavy songs, I have to question the validity of this. Lara is a vocalist, and when she sits down and sings the few songs that suit her vocal tone, she does sound heavenly, but if you ask her to do anything outside of that, it does not necessarily sound any better than what Manon or Megan are giving us. Sophia sounds slightly screechy, I have to admit, and her vocal tone is not very pleasant to listen to. Yoonchae can hold a note while she is standing, but everything outside of that is also a big challenge to her. But I cannot blame that on the girls too much, it is usually the fans who go around telling everyone what amazing vocalists Katseye are. Given that the same people are used to K-pop, it actually makes a lot of sense, because in 4th and 5th gen K-pop terms, some of the members actually do stand out positively.
I could see water.
Six, lazy for the American gaze. Before I get into the manon lazy allegations, let me just say that this hiatus thing is very sketchy. I am not a conspiracy theorist, but the theory about hybe using scandals to get attention is starting to make a lot of sense. Especially given how they have still not addressed the racism allegations. It really feels like they are milking the shit out of this situation and are trying to hold onto the attention as much as possible before they make any announcement. But now back to Manon. And Manon has all my respect for taking a jab at American hustle culture. You can work your ass off, you will still be a slave of the system. There is nothing admirable about disregarding your health and overworking yourself. If your body needs a break, it needs a break, and if Manon takes the initiative to give herself the breaks she needs, I stand 100% behind her. You all cry about how the entertainment industry literally treats artists like slaves, but God forbid somebody stands up for themselves. I can't admire overworked, tired, sleepy girls. I can't admire 14 hours of dance practice. I cannot admire world tours and albums back to back, especially albums that are made for the sake of it and not for the art. I wish more people resisted and stood up for themselves, but we are unfortunately stuck in a society that shames people for doing so.